Everybody is looking for ways to beat the cold. So before we dive in, make sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. During the World Wars, soldiers faced an enemy far more relentless than gunfire or artillery: cold. Freezing nights in the trenches, damp uniforms and meagre rations made survival a daily challenge. Hypothermia wasn't a dramatic Hollywood moment. It was silent, creeping into the body when least expected. Yet, amid these harsh conditions, soldiers, medics and even civilians on the home front developed techniques that were practical, effective and resourceful. Skills that modern survival enthusiasts can still learn from today. The ingenuity displayed in these desperate conditions is astonishing, because every small improvement, keeping feet dry, staying warm at night, improvising light, could mean the difference between life and death. Why understanding basic winter survival was a matter of life and death. Military reports from both world wars consistently highlight that frostbite and exposure cause more casualties in certain campaigns than direct combat. In the frigid Russian winters of 1941, German soldiers learned this lesson painfully. Improvised insulation became a critical skill. Simple methods like stuffing clothing with straw, layering blankets, or using newspaper inside boots weren't just clever, they were essential. Commanders and medics alike quickly realized that maintaining warmth wasn't about luxury. It was about maintaining strength, morale, and the ability to fight. For the field historian or survivalist, this teaches a principle that holds true beyond battlefields. Heat is as vital as food or water when operating in extreme conditions. Now, let's consider how soldiers improvised with limited materials in trenches and bunkers. In the trenches of the First World War, and later in the frozen landscapes of the Second World War, soldiers, they rarely had access to traditional heating. Yet resourcefulness really thrived under necessity. Soldiers used empty tins, kerosene lamps, and even clay pots, techniques actually that date back centuries, to trap and radiate heat. Layering clothing and bedding in creative ways and utilizing damp-proofing methods like tarpaulin or canvas, as well as insulating feet with multiple layers of socks or straw, were, common practices. During winter campaigns, medics reported that small modifications, such as placing a blanket over a heat source or surrounding a bedroll with dry leaves, could significantly improve overnight warmth. These techniques weren't glamorous. They were calculated, methodical, and, life-saving. Why field kitchens were more than just food preparation. Rations were meagre, yet soldiers learned to leverage field kitchens for warmth as well as nourishment. Metal mess, tins and stoves weren't only cooking tools. They became improvised heaters. Soldiers discovered that placing a tin near their body under a blanket could provide radiated warmth for extended periods. Hot water bottles filled from boiled water were commonplace in many units, and in some European campaigns, medics improvised with bottles wrapped in cloth to heat bunks or small shelters. Even the smallest flame, when combined with careful positioning and insulating materials, created a surprisingly effective heat source that could ward off hypothermia. These lessons are immediately useful for anyone studying survival tactics or living off-grid in cold conditions. Now, how layering and insulation were perfected in field conditions is actually quite fascinating. One of the most critical lessons soldiers learned, and one that modern survivalists can, immediately apply, was layering. Multiple thin layers trap air, which acts as an insulating barrier, far better than a single thick garment. Soldiers combined wool undergarments, standard issue uniforms, and, additional scarves or blankets to optimize warmth. When sleeping, layering wasn't just about personal comfort. It protected against the cold seeping from frozen ground. Some units took advantage of ground insulation, using straw, leaves, or even sandbags under bedding to create a thermal buffer. Now, understanding the physics of heat retention in these circumstances, it provides invaluable insight into effective winter survival without relying on electricity or, modern heaters. Historical ingenuity, it really extended to communal and portable solutions. In many military camps, soldiers developed communal strategies to maximize warmth. Bunks were placed close together to share body heat. Communal fires were strategically placed to avoid smoke, but radiate heat to shelters, and tents were modified with reflective surfaces or internal insulation. Portability was equally essential for soldiers on the move. Small, compact heat sources like clay pot heaters, kerosene lamps, or insulated flasks were well integrated into daily routines. The principle behind these strategies is timeless. With minimal resources and careful planning, heat can be maximized, fuel consumption minimized, and, survival odds dramatically improved. Why the lessons of wartime survival are still relevant today. Modern survivalists, campers, or off-grid enthusiasts can learn directly from these historical techniques. Efficient use of fuel, maximizing thermal mass, layering and insulating both the body and shelter are principles that remain unchanged. By studying these wartime practices, we see that survival isn't about having the newest gadget. It's about understanding heat, resourcefulness, and, adaptability. Soldiers and civilians from a century ago faced conditions that would challenge even the best prepared modern adventurer. Yet they survived by observing, experimenting, and refining simple yet effective methods. How to apply these insights to modern survival and history study. For anyone passionate about practical history, World War survival lessons are immediately applicable. A simple heat source, clay pots, layered bedding, or insulated ground coverings can transform a harsh night into a manageable one. Observing how people adapted to extreme conditions teaches us more than any textbook. It provides actionable strategies for today, whether in a remote cabin, an emergency shelter, or a cold weather expedition. The combination of historical accuracy and practical application is what truly makes this knowledge priceless for serious enthusiasts. For fellow history buffs and survivalists, these World War survival methods are more than curiosities. They are a bridge to understanding how, ingenuity meets necessity. By studying them, experimenting safely, and applying their principles, anyone can gain a deeper appreciation for human resilience. If you found this guide valuable, make sure to subscribe to Past Survival, share this video with friends who love history and practical skills, and, hit the notification bell. Every week, we dive deep into forgotten techniques, battlefield ingenuity, and survival strategies you can actually use today. Don't miss the chance to learn directly from history's most resourceful minds.